You know how I'm always telling you that God's plan is better than ours and that even when things are not going the way we want them to, they're going better, right? One thing about me is I take my own advice. I need to talk to you about what the past few weeks have been. I know you think you've been seeing me almost every day, but I pre-record my videos, so a lot has happened since the last time I actually got in front of this camera. So for context, we spent about a month in the Midwest with family. About halfway through that month, we decided to hop on a plane and go spend the Eid with family in Lebanon. The day that we were scheduled to fly out, Ahmed got a message letting him know that his grandmother passed away. Like, we were about to get on a flight and go to Lebanon. His grandmother lives in Lebanon. We would have been able to see her. And to know that she literally passed away the day that we were gonna get on an airplane and go surprise his family is honestly devastating. To make matters even weirder, by the way, I had content that I had recorded while we were still in the Midwest about grief. I was just reflecting on my own grief journey and just talking about grief and how complicated it is. And I haven't posted the video yet because I honestly think editing it just feels so weird because it just feels weirdly ironic. In the middle of us grieving, we had a flight to catch and the trip was gonna be super, super long because we had a couple of layovers. So we couldn't really just sit with our emotions for too long. But as I was reflecting on it, I was like, the way that Muslims do burials and the way that we do our ceremonies, it happens really quickly. Like within the first few days of somebody passing away, we have to bury them and do a lot of ceremonies for people to come and pay their respect. So as devastating as it was, it's kind of crazy because had we found out that morning and then tried to book a flight, we definitely wouldn't have arrived in Lebanon in time to actually be there for a lot of the services. So that was just one way we chose to look at it, where what are the odds that we randomly felt inspired to book a trip to Lebanon, even though we're going this summer already, to literally arrive on the same day that his grandmother passed away. These are the moments where I just look up at God and I'm like, we couldn't have planned this better. Like, obviously the circumstances are not happy circumstances, but given these circumstances, we couldn't have planned to make the timing work better. I'm sharing this in part just to let you know that anytime you're going through something, there are always infinite options of how you can look at it. And each of those would be true. Like if Ahmed or any of us decided to look at this situation through the lens of, had we just booked a day before, we could have saw her before she passed away. That's true. We can definitely choose to look at it that way. It's equally true to look at it the way that I said it. And by the way, this isn't me telling you that you should tell other people how to look at their grief. So I just want to put that out there. Side note, I don't know if it's because the sun is out, but there's a lot of toxic masculine energy going on outside with these loud ass motorcycles. So just try your best to ignore it because I know I am. But anyway, I just wanted to make clear that like you should never try to tell someone else how to look at their situation unless they're asking you. But I remember when my dad passed away, I kept thinking that there was this like fork in the road of I can either be devastated that I lost this amazing, irreplaceable man, or be so grateful that I had someone so worthy of missing. And I know if you hear that, you might think that that sounds like toxic positivity, but truly and honestly, like that's how I felt. Every time I would feel devastated, there would also be this super overpowering emotion of gratitude of, oh my God, like he's so worthy of being missed. Look at how much I miss him. Look at how much I love him. How lucky am I? What did I do to deserve somebody that is this worthy of being missed? If that is not a nuanced emotion, I don't know what is. I'm not gonna spend this video talking too much about my husband's grief process because that's his business. But I just wanted to tell you, number one, that a lot has been going on my end. I was supposed to record in Lebanon, but for obvious reasons, that trip didn't quite go as planned. And so it wasn't appropriate for me to pull out my camera and record. It just wasn't the vibe. I really wanted to be present with all of our families. But also, number two, I wanted you to see in real time the way I do my best to take my own advice. I put a lot of intention behind the things that I choose to believe. Like, I don't take them lightly. When I'm coming on here and I'm talking to you about anything, like if I'm giving you any advice, it's something that I try to practice myself. It's something that I really, really try to hold myself accountable to. Like if I'm coming on here and telling you that God's plan is always better than the one that you planned, then what would I look like being so angry when things don't play out the way that I wanted them to? Another thing that I do want to point out with this is we're not always entitled to knowing why things happen the way that they do. A more lighthearted, maybe relatable example is on our flight to Lebanon, our first leg got delayed, so much so that we were gonna miss the connection. And then when we got rerouted on another connection, we had to get rebooked 3 different times for an unknown reason. Like, it was very unclear why these flights kept rebooking us. And so we kept thinking, oh, our layover is this long. And then it ended up being longer. And then we ended up being booked to a different city. And those are kind of the moments where I've kind of trained my brain to just be like, who knows what would have happened? Maybe someone needed to get on a different flight more than I did, and maybe God orchestrated it so that that's how it worked out for that person. I don't know. Maybe my presence on that flight could have, I don't want to say anything bad because I'm already too scared to fly. But I think in these moments, it's so important to have the humility of knowing that, like, sometimes you're not meant to know. Sometimes you'll never know, and that's okay. I mean, that's really where faith comes in. If faith only was required during moments where you knew exactly how everything was going to work out in your favor, then I don't think it would be faith. I don't think it would be a challenging muscle for you to build. Faith is faith because you have to trust it, even and especially when you don't exactly know why things are happening the way that they do. Of the advice that I give, this might be the one that has been the hardest for me to take. I've been doing a great job as of lately, but it's challenging. It's really challenging to watch things play out in an unfavorable way and just sit back and trust and keep showing up every day, knowing that one day it's all gonna make sense. It's kind of hard to keep moving forward in the middle of cloudiness, in the middle of darkness sometimes. I will say a very beautiful, happy ending, I guess, to the trip was on the way back, Ahmed and I were flying through Paris. Before we even left Beirut, we were told that our flight from Paris to Beirut actually got delayed 2 times, and instead of a 4-hour layover, it was gonna be something like an 11-hour layover. Right there and then, instead of getting frustrated, Ahmed's like, honestly, let's just go into the city. Let's get a hotel in Paris and just shower there. And he had never been to Paris, so he's like, let's just tour the city. We have 11 hours. And I was so excited about the idea of doing that. So you may have seen some of the pictures that I shared with you of our little excursion in Paris. It was so fun. It rained, then it was sunny, then it was hot, and then it was cold. I felt like we got like all 4 seasons in one city. In just a few hours, we were able to do so many fun things. And that's another example of, like, sometimes things don't work out as planned and you see in real time how they're better. Had that trip not been delayed, sure, it would have been cute and nice to get home earlier, but like, we literally got to go visit Paris. I don't for 2 seconds take for granted. There were these women, these other Lebanese women on our flight traveling to LA, and they were like, oh, you guys have an American passport. You should totally do that. And it just hit me again where I'm like, not everybody can do this. People might need to get a visa or would have more trouble getting into Paris. I am so grateful that I'm able to do this. Like, this is not something to take lightly. And I think the reason I'm mentioning this, obviously I wanted you to hear like something happy from this trip, but I also want you to recognize that if you're going to be upset when things don't work out the way that you want them to, then there would be no room for these beautiful unplanned surprises. Like, you would not have the emotion of surprise. Can you imagine that? I just realized, like, that was kind of a bar, but like the feeling of being shocked or positively surprised, like that would not be a feeling if everything always worked out the way that you planned it to. Do you know how boring life would be? Like, do you understand? Like, I got this new drink from Phil's today and it's surprisingly good. If I knew exactly how it was gonna taste, then it would just be boring. I mean, sure, it would taste predictably good, but that's kind of boring. So there's just something to be said about picking something up, not knowing what to expect, and then being pleasantly surprised by how amazing it is. But in order to be pleasantly surprised, you are also signing up to have moments where you're not so pleasantly surprised. You're unpleasantly surprised. And that's just life. Like, I could have had my first sip of this drink and it been disgusting. That is kind of the balance that is life. I hope that that makes sense to you. The point that I'm making is everything exists in contrast. You would not know what a desire is if you did not know what something undesirable was. I think that that's why, and if you watch my grief video, this is what I talk about. I think that's why grief brings about so much gratitude, because it's in this feeling of loss that you understand what you have. Oh my, I'm making myself cry. I can't talk about this for too long because I'll start crying. But one thing I was reflecting on when Ahmed and I were able to do this whole Paris thing. I just thought about how present I needed to be with him and how much I needed to appreciate these young years that we have together. And I reflect a lot on my parents and how they were best friends for over 30 years before my mom lost my dad. And one of the things that like chokes me up every single time I think about it is this knowing and this understanding that the things that my mom misses are not the huge moments, they're the tiny ones. They're the moments that most people would take for granted. In knowing that, it's like I made a vow to myself not to take the smallest moments for granted. Because of that contrast, because of me seeing what it looks like to lose the love of your life, I want to be so present right now so that if anything ever does happen, whatever it is, it's not just unhappy stuff. One day we're gonna hopefully have kids and we're not gonna be able to travel, and it's not gonna be a vibe to go tour a city on a layover with screaming, crying kids and diaper changes. Like, it's not just sad stuff. It's just the understanding that you might not have these moments all the time. Whether we're talking about career goals or relationship goals or whatever it is, like there's something about this moment that you are not going to have in the next moment, in the next chapter. And that's why it's just so incredibly important to try your best. Try your best to appreciate it. Try your best to ask yourself, what about this moment can I never get back? Even if it's the smallest, cutest, tiniest thing, like what is it in this moment that I won't get even in my dream life, even in my dream relationship, even in my dream body? What is it about this here moment in this circumstance that I cannot get even in my wildest dreams? And how can I double down on appreciating that so that I can feel assured that when I do get the thing that I want, I appreciated where I was. I appreciated what it took to get me there. This stuff gets me really emotional, like not in a sad way. It's like in a beautiful way. I feel proud knowing that I imagine my 80-year-old self would be smiling at the way that I'm thinking right now. Like, you're gonna think I'm dramatic, but anytime I can take the stairs, I take the stairs. And I wanna pay tribute to the version of me that might not be able to take the stairs. I might be too tired or winded, or maybe one day I won't be able to really walk. Like, I want to look back and be like, girl, you really appreciated those legs even when you were tired. I'm so happy that you appreciated them because truly you didn't know what you had. This is my way of trying my best to be thankful for what I have right now. Another way that I've been trying to take this advice is by just being overall more flexible. I think a lot of times our disappointment comes from having such rigid expectations of how things could work out. Like, if you told yourself, I want to be in a happy, loving relationship, and you just focused on how you wanted to feel, then multiple people could make you feel that way. But if you were so specific, I want to be with someone who's from this city, who is this height, who wears this cologne. Like, I know a lot of us do. And look, I was the first one to have like a long laundry list of very specific qualities. And I'm not telling you not to do that. I think it's really fun to do that. But I think one good thing about me, at least in this example, is yes, my specifications were super specific and as vain as they could. Like, I literally had a section called the deep end and one called the kiddie pool, and the kiddie pool was for like the shallow things, the color of his hair and his eyes. I knew it was shallow, and I kind of knew that I was like just saying it to say it, and I didn't really care. Write those specifics down if it's fun for you, but understand that what you're really asking for is to feel a certain way, and you believe that these specifications will make you feel a certain way. But if God presents you something that makes you feel the right way, don't reject it just because it doesn't match the checklist that you've created. Because once again, God's plan is better than yours. And so your little rubric might not actually be the thing that accomplishes the feeling that you told God you want to have. I'm applying that with my day-to-day life. I'm trying to be more chill. I have a tendency to be like a planner. I try to plan things out. I try to be really rigid. And it's funny because every time I travel from overseas, every time I come back from overseas, I'm obsessed with the way that the jet lag works in my favor. I start getting tired around like 9 p.m. and then I wake up naturally, like without an alarm, before 5 a.m. And I try my best to hold on to the schedule for as long as possible because I really, at the core, am a morning person. I'm so happy in the morning. I wake up happy. I'm one of those weird people that like wakes up just excited for life. And slowly but surely, in the weeks after we travel from overseas, I kind of like mess up the schedule because I end up staying up late doing something fun, so I never regret it, but I end up staying up late and like it gets harder and harder to wake up that early. But one thing I realized is like I used to be way too rigid when it came to my routine. Something I'm playing with this time around, because rigidity is sometimes fun, and I don't want to say rigidity, I would say structure is sometimes fun. I promise this will make sense in a second, but what I'm about to explain right now, as it goes for my routine, I want you to apply it generally to life. Okay, rigidity is not helpful because it creates this set expectation of exactly how things need to play out, and it doesn't give room for God to surprise you. This is like my favorite saying, is give God room to surprise you. When you're so rigid, not only are you not giving room for God or life to surprise you, but you're almost playing God, because you're kind of like obsessing over every little detail of how things need to work out. That's how I was being about my schedule. It's like you got to wake up at 5 a.m. and then between 5 and 6 you're doing this, and then between 6 and 7 you're doing this. And I should have known that that would never work for someone like me, because I'm very rebellious. Like, I will always do the thing that I'm not supposed to do. I just don't like being told what to do. And that goes for me and myself too. I am, what's the word? Like irreverent when it comes to people telling me what to do and me telling me what to do. Like if I create rules for myself, I sometimes find it hard to keep them because it still feels the same as being controlled, even if the person trying to control me is me. I don't know if you could relate to that. So what I decided to play with this time around, and I'll let you know how it goes because I'm only on like day 3 right now, is not rigidity, but structure with built-in room for flexibility. So what does that mean? That means instead of telling myself that I need to wake up at 5 and then brush my teeth and then between 5 and 6 do this and then journal between 6 and 6:30, because that's literally how it used to be. All I'm gonna tell myself is I need to wake up before 5. I need to work out by this time. And then I need to sleep before 9. Whatever happens in between, I'm giving myself so much flexibility to just decide what that is. It's honestly been so fun because there's a lot going on in our life right now. Outside of like the personal family stuff, we are moving into a new unit. Same building, new unit, but there's like packing boxes back here because we're packing up our apartment. And you know, this morning I woke up and instead of journaling or reading or doing a meditation like I used to, I just started editing a video. The old version of me would be like, no, you're not supposed to edit right when you wake up because you need to do something more mindful. I'd create all these random rules, but like I woke up and I felt like editing a video. So I edited a video and I got a video edited and posted before 5:30 a.m. literally, because I woke up today at 4:45 like a crazy woman. Tomorrow I might wake up and be like, actually I want to do a morning walk during this time. I'm kind of just letting myself go with my feelings, with the understanding that I have enough structure and accountability to get the things done that I said I would for sure get done. My number 1, 2, and 3 priority right now is my YouTube videos, my workouts, and getting this apartment packed up. So I know that between the hours of 5 a.m. and 9 p.m., I'm going to do those 3 things, but the order that I do them in really doesn't matter. And it's so funny because it sounds like such common sense when you say it out loud, but honestly, like that's not how I was doing it. I was so rigid. It was like I was literally being a tyrant with myself, and I was almost blocking my own productivity because I wasn't allowing myself to do things when I felt like doing them. Now, please do not misunderstand what I'm telling you. This is not me saying don't do anything unless you feel like doing it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I have some non-negotiables that I've created between me and myself. And those are, you are going to work out 5 times a week, whether you like it or not, whether you feel like it or not, whether you're on your period or not. That is a non-negotiable. You are going to sleep early and therefore wake up early every single night. I don't care if you and Ahmed are vibing. I don't care what show you have on. You are going to sleep early. You are going to pack this apartment up because it's not going to pack itself. You see how I'm talking to myself like kind of like a mother would talk to her daughter. These are the parts where I allow myself to be strict. I wouldn't say rigid, but strict, because I love myself enough to do what I know the future version of me will be happy that I did. How that happens throughout the day doesn't matter. So why was I trying to be so strict and rigid about things that don't matter? If I want to wake up at 5 a.m. and go work out at 7 a.m. one day, even though I booked a class at 12, then why not? I only book those classes, again, to create structure so that there's room for flexibility. But if I want to cancel the 12 p.m., to do a 7 a.m. class, and then if I want to come pack bags from 9 to 5 p.m., why not do that? Like, what's the big deal? things are getting done. And so what it has led to for the past 3 days is me literally like waking up, editing a video, packing up one bag, doing something else, reading, doing something personal development related, packing up another 2 boxes, unpacking half of my luggage, going to the gym, coming home and showering, unpacking the other half of my luggage. Like, it is very scattered, but things are getting done. And it's funny because I never used to let myself be like this. And it's crazy because I have so much more energy. I've had so much energy the past few days, and I haven't been drinking as much coffee, so it's not the coffee. So I don't want to speak too soon because I've only tried this for a few days, and I usually like to try things for a while before I come and talk to you about them. But the point that I'm making is not necessarily that I have this new productivity hack. The point that I'm making is, in general, in my life, from macro to micro, I'm trying to move away from rigidity and move more into structured flexibility, structured freedom. Because I do think that that just meshes better with my personality. Like, I am someone who's always been obsessed with freedom. Freedom is like one of my favorite things in the world. Autonomy, authenticity. And I'm very passionate and energetic. So why wasn't I just letting myself follow my energy, knowing that I've made these promises to myself and I'm going to get them done? I've built at this point enough self-trust to understand that if I said I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And it's none of anyone's business whether it gets done at 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. because I said I'm going to do it. So why does it really matter when it's done? Side note, my eyebrows are crazy. I haven't done my eyebrows in months. I need to do my eyebrows. It's like a SOS at this point. But it's just like, I'm kind of nervous that they're gonna mess them up. And I feel like Arab girls can relate, because once you grow them out for so long, you get so invested. That's called the sunk cost fallacy. I'm just so grateful to be at a place where I've shown myself that I really do trust myself. Like, I really, really trust myself, because otherwise I don't know that I would have given myself this flexibility. And it's like the internal narrator in my head is like, okay, girl, you got it. We know you're gonna do it because you've been doing it. So whenever you get it done is when you get it done. It's almost like I used to be a micromanager, and now I'm like not micromanaging myself. And it's actually leading to better results. Like, the micromanager used to be so dumb. She used to be like, why did you just only pack up 1 box? That was a really stupid use of your time. You should have just waited until you could pack 10 boxes so that you could actually be more efficient with your time. But it's like, okay, well, let's just sit back and look at this objectively. It is 8 a.m. and I've already unpacked a whole freaking cabinet in my kitchen. So you mean to tell me I should have waited until 6 p.m. so that I could have started with that cabinet and then finished the whole kitchen? Why does it matter? I'm going to finish the whole kitchen, but in between me doing random stuff and Ahmed having a conversation with me, I just decided to unpack because that's what I felt like doing. And now there's a box packed. You're welcome. So this goes back to something that I talk about a lot in my videos, which is having a friendly but firm conversation with the voice in your head. And that's really what I've been practicing. Like, when it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense, and I'm challenging it. I'm not just letting every single thought or every single belief that passes by in my head go by unchecked. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. I just feel like I'm reaching this new era of trust, not just for God. I feel like I've trusted God a lot more than I've trusted myself. But this season is me trusting myself. As I'm saying it out loud, I'm realizing I don't really trust God if I don't trust myself, because God put me here and God is the one telling me what to do. So if I'm not trusting myself to do that, then my faith can only go so far, because I'm not trusting myself as the vessel of whatever that purpose is. So I'm just very, very hopeful and very excited for what this new era is going to look like for me. And I know that this video, honestly, like, I didn't come on here knowing what I was going to say. And to someone who doesn't understand how I think, these messages might seem unrelated. But if you are a deep thinker like me, which if you're on this channel, I know that you are, all of this stuff is related. Allowing yourself to be so present and so trusting that even tragic moments are an opportunity for you to be humble and for you to say, I don't know how this is going to play out for my good, but I know that it will. And then from there, taking that lesson and applying it to your day-to-day life, where you just stop giving your power away to stupid things like a dumb, rigid schedule. And you trust yourself to the point where you know that your little moments of inspiration, they count for something. Like, you're feeling inspired to do something at a specific time for a reason. And you don't need to be so rigid with that, especially if you've reached a place where you have already become the type of person that gets things done. You've shown yourself that you're the type of person that does work out. You've shown yourself that you are the type of person that does make time for herself and does care about herself. So you're able to release that grip, that really rigid and tight grip, because you trust that things will flow the way that you want them to. I recorded a vision board video that I'll be sharing with you soon. It takes me really long to edit vlogs, but once I edit it, I will share it with you, obviously. And I was looking at my vision board this morning, and my life literally feels like the feeling of the vision board. So arguably, it's like I've already gotten my vision board. If you get what I mean, you get what I mean. But like the things that I've written on there, I have not yet received. However, I feel energetically like the energy emanating from this vision board. So I'm so happy. Like I don't actually even care that I didn't get them. And because I understand how manifestation works, I know it's literally a matter of time until they make their way towards me. And I trust in the timing of that. Because once again, what I'm looking for is not the thing. It's the feeling that I think that the thing will give me. It's like I got a rush order on the feeling without having the thing. I feel like I won. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I feel like I got the cheat code because I haven't gotten to my goal weight, but I feel sexy and strong and lean. And I have this delusional thing. Like I feel like I have body dysmorphia in the opposite way now, which is something I've been dying to have, is looking in the mirror and feeling so good, because there were moments where I had the body, but I looked in the mirror and I did have body dysmorphia. So imagine how hopeful it feels to know that I'm not at the number or the size, but that I feel good. That I'm not at the number of subscribers that I have set as a goal, but I feel so connected to you guys, and I feel so excited to record content for you. Like I feel like I have everything that I want without having everything that I want. I recorded this whole thing just to let you know I take my own advice. I think this is proof. It's a testament to that. Like I'm proud of my advice. I'm proud of the things that I'm telling you, because I am watching them work in my life right now as we speak, for better or for worse, for beautiful moments and not so beautiful moments. I'm taking my own advice. So it's good advice. But on a serious note, this has been so fun to just catch up with you. I'm probably going to start posting Monday through Thursday and taking the weekends off to just be more present and enjoy life. And if that changes, it changes. Back to my whole structured flexibility thing. I want to give myself that structure and that added flexibility, which I think will come with the weekends. But again, I don't want to be so rigid to say that this is how it's always going to be. I might decide one day that I want to post every single day, and I might decide one day that I want to, scale it back even. But for now, that's kind of the heads up that I want to give you, is to expect videos Monday through Thursday. And if I throw a little surprise video over the weekend, then surprise. And if I don't, I don't. Let me know if this has brought up anything for you. I hope you've enjoyed the structured flexibility of this video as much as I have. I love you so, so, so much. And as always, stay powerful, my love.